If there's one thing you never mess with out here, it's water. Out in ranch country, wells are lifelines. Not just for people, but for crops, cattle, and everything else that breathes. Which is why when I turned on my kitchen tap one morning and nothing came out but a pitiful hiss of air, I knew something was wrong. I checked the pump house, walked the lines, even reset the breaker. Everything on my end was fine. But the well valve, the big one by the road, had been chained shut with a bright orange lock. And dangling from that lock was a laminated HOA notice, complete with their smug little logo. Water service terminated until property complies with HOA regulations. I swear, I could hear Karen's screechy voice in my head as I read it. I stood there, stunned. The well wasn't theirs. I drilled it myself 20 years ago, paid for it, maintained it. It sat squarely on my land. And yet, somehow, the HOA thought they could cut off my water like I was some apartment tenant behind on rent. I didn't bother calling their office. Instead, I pulled out my phone and made one call. Not to the county, not to a lawyer. To the fire department. You see, what Karen and her clipboard warriors didn't know was that years back, I'd struck a deal with the local fire chief. My well wasn't just for my ranch. It was one of the designated emergency water sources for the entire county. Tanker trucks used it during wildfire season. I leased it to them for practically nothing, just enough to cover upkeep. So when the chief answered, I just said, "Mornin', chief. Looks like the HOA decided they own your water now. Better come take a look." Not 30 minutes later, 3 fire trucks rolled up to the locked valve. The chief climbed down, took one look at the HOA's notice, and just about turned purple with rage. "Who the hell do they think they are?" he barked. "This isn't just your water. This is emergency infrastructure. They've just committed tampering with county fire supply." I leaned against the fence, arms crossed. "Told you so." Right about then, Karen herself came strutting up in her neon visor, clipboard at the ready. "Good, you're here. This property is in violation of HOA landscaping codes, and until the owner complies, all non-essential services are suspended." The chief rounded on her so fast I thought she'd fall over. "Non-essential? Lady, this well is a designated county fire source. You just cut off water access to every fire crew in a 20-mile radius. You've endangered the entire community." Karen blinked, mouth opening and closing like a fish. "Well, it's still technically on his property, so the HOA has jurisdiction." "Wrong," the chief snapped. He waved to a firefighter who produced bolt cutters and snapped the lock in half with one crunch. The valve hissed as water surged back through the line. "Here's what's going to happen," the chief growled. "We're filing a formal complaint with the county. You've interfered with emergency services, which is a felony. And if you ever touch this well again, you'll be in cuffs before you can spell HOA." Karen's face went bright red, then white. You can't do this. We're the Homeowners Association." The chief stepped in close, towering over her. "Lady, I don't care if you're the Queen of England. Out here, fire beats HOA every damn time." Karen stormed off, sputtering threats, but the damage was done. The sheriff's office showed up later that afternoon, took statements, and promised further action. Rumor had it Karen spent a few uncomfortable hours in county lockup while the board scrambled to cover their tails. Meanwhile, I got a formal letter from the county thanking me for continued cooperation in maintaining emergency water access. They even renewed my lease for another 10 years. That night, as the sun dipped low and the cattle watered happily from the trough, I sat on the porch and raised a glass. To Karen, who thought she could control the water supply. And to karma, which made sure she drowned in her own stupidity instead.